They called him a genius, a child touched by God himself. But even Mozart, yes, Mozart had one night so strange, so chilling, it was never spoken of again. A hidden letter, a mysterious masked patron, and a single symphony that should never have been written. This is the secret confession of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, a diary entry long forgotten, a tale that may explain the darkness behind his final notes. I never told Constanze. I couldn't. She would have thought it fever or madness, but I was not mad, not yet. It was real. The man in the red mask. The commission I should have refused. The music that should never have been written. This is my confession. Not for pity nor fame, for what I am about to reveal may stain even my most sacred notes. But I cannot take this secret with me to the grave. It has waited too long in the shadows, and I have heard enough whispers in the walls of my room to know it will not rest until I speak. It began with a knock, a quiet one. 3 taps, delicate yet firm, like a conductor signaling a sinister overture. I was working late, hunched over the first measures of La Clemenza di Tito. The candle beside me sputtered with protest. When I opened the door, a man stood there, tall, dressed in a black cloak with gloves and a Venetian red mask. He handed me a letter, said nothing, and vanished into the night before I could summon a word. The letter was written in a strange blend of Latin and something older, Greek perhaps, but the gist was clear. A commission, a requiem, a large sum of money offered for a single piece, to be delivered in utmost secrecy. No questions, no dedications, just the music. I should have refused, but we were poor. Constanza had been ill, my father dead, and I was no longer the boy wonder of Salzburg. Vienna had grown tired of me. So I said yes, and the nightmares began. The first night I composed, the notes came like whispers, not from my mind, but from somewhere just behind it. I heard phrases in the silence, harmonies when I blinked. The music didn't feel like mine. It felt dictated. I wrote and wrote, faster than ever before. The requiem poured from me like blood from a vein I hadn't known was cut. And then the man returned. Always at night, always silent. He would read the pages without touching them, nod slowly, then leave. I never saw his face. I tried asking who he was. He never answered. One evening I followed him, through the alleys of Vienna, through side streets I'd never noticed, until we reached a building I swear had not been there before. A red door. No number, no knocker. He entered. I hesitated, then followed. Inside was a chamber lit by red candles and crowded with figures in masks, silver, black, red, gold. None of them spoke. And in the center of the room was my music, being played. But not by musicians. The instruments moved on their own. A violin bowing itself, a cello with no cellist, a harpsichord that played chords I had never written. And yet, they were mine. The room vibrated with unearthly harmony. I felt a pressure behind my eyes, like something ancient and hungry was watching from just beyond the air. When it ended, all the masked figures turned toward me, not clapping, not smiling, just staring. The red-masked man approached. He placed a gloved hand on my shoulder and whispered, his first words, "It must be finished, before you are." I left that place shaking. I remember vomiting in the street, and yet I kept writing. I could not stop. The music possessed me. I stopped eating. My hands trembled from overuse. I began to lose time, entire days lost in what felt like moments. Constance begged me to rest, but I could not. The music clawed its way out of me. Then came the final movement, Lacrimosa. And as I penned it, my hands bled. Every note felt like it was drawn from bone. And then, just as I wrote the final cadence, I collapsed. I awoke 3 days later. The manuscript was gone. The red-masked man never returned. And worst of all, I could no longer hear music the same. My own compositions felt unfamiliar, like I'd become a stranger in my own mind. I tried to rewrite the Requiem from memory, but something stopped me, like a hand over mine. They say I died composing it. But the truth is, it was finished the moment I signed the pact in silence. The Requiem was never mine. I was only its vessel. And now, I'm tired. So tired. I hear music in my sleep, notes that tremble with otherworldly hunger. I sometimes see a flash of red in the corner of my eye, and I wonder, did I make a deal I cannot escape? This will be my final confession. Burn it, if you must. But know this. Music is not always divine. Sometimes it is summoned, and sometimes what answers is not God,